work in the oil and gas sector down here in Aberdeen. I work in the company located in Port. I think that's in Aberdeenshire. We're operating in the drilling sector across the globe. And a bit of an educational background. I have a first degree in computer science and a master's degree in cybersecurity from this amazing institution you guys are in right now. So sometime last year and 2 years back, I was in this classroom as well. And it's quite a privilege for me to be in front of you guys, brilliant people, to share on this topic that I've titled Threat Intelligence for Effective Cybersecurity Risk Management. Though I have a presentation here, well, I'll need your help to make it as interactive as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'll go through the presentation slides as quickly as possible so that we could have like a kind of a more interactive question and answer session, to get stuff that will benefit you from this presentation, so that I don't just come and boil you down with some academic presentation. So please feel free to interrupt and ask questions, and any kind of questions you want to ask that you think will help you in your career opportunities, and whichever way you intend to use that to benefit your career going forward. So I'll get straight to it. So over the next 25 to 30 minutes, I'm going to go through introduction to threat intelligence, go through the threat intelligence production life cycle, and different levels of threat intelligence reporting, and also help us understand how organizations use threat intelligence to develop what we call threat profile and risk profile of an organization, and how this is applied in enterprise IT risk management, basically. So that will take us through some examples, practical use cases for how we apply threat intelligence, practically in an organization, and then we have a question and answer session, like I said. So as I said, I'm going to go through it as quickly as possible, so as not to make it very boring. So by way of introduction, threat intelligence as defined by Mandiant and CrowdStrike, which I believe you guys know. These are some top threat intelligence production companies out there. They define threat intelligence as the collection, the analysis, the processing of threat data to understand adversarial TTPs. I'm going to be using a lot of jargon here because I believe I'm in a cybersecurity students class. So I hope you guys, any jargon I use that you don't understand, feel free to ask me to explain, so I can understand how all this comes together to tie into the module you're currently on, which I believe should be on IT risk management. Threat intelligence involves monitoring adversarial activities. So I believe you guys understand what adversary means in this time when I say adversarial activities. So what are the adversaries doing? What are the, I don't want to say criminals, I don't want to say bad guys, but these don't tie in. Well, I would say threat groups. What are they doing? What can we learn from what they are doing? So gathering the data to help us understand this is called threat intelligence. So it's a science, as it were. So the entire process that involves gathering this data, analyzing it, studying it, and tying it into defensive mechanisms is what we call threat intelligence, right? So what is the purpose of threat intelligence? Every organization doesn't just set out to set up IT security mechanisms. That means maybe your firewalls, your other defensive mechanisms. You don't just start as an organization and just buy everything out there. You do a study of yourself to understand what will fit in your own environment, what will fit in your own business setup. So that is the purpose of threat intelligence in an enterprise organization. Threat intelligence goes through what we call a production life cycle. Please, I want you to understand, as a cybersecurity graduate, your role out there could be a threat intelligence analyst, right? So if you were a threat intelligence analyst, your job in producing threat intelligence reports goes through what we call threat intelligence production life cycle. And this life cycle starts by the planning and direction stage or phase. This is where an organization sets out its objective why are we investing in threat intelligence, right? So organizations set up the objective for this process or this investment, right? At this stage, you define what kind of data are we going to be looking for? How does this tie into what we're trying to achieve? So you set out this broad objective. As I said, guys, please pardon me. I'm going to be going through it as quickly as possible so that we can have a more interactive session. Because I haven't been here, I think it's always better if you can ask real-life questions and understand how this can improve our knowledge and also help us in, especially for those who will be looking out for jobs soon. So the next stage in threat intelligence production lifecycle is intelligence collection. Intelligence collection, as I believe you understand, involves every process that involves data gathering. So, you set up your syslog, you set up your log data. How do you gather all this data and put them together, right? So every resource, every effort that the organization invests in to gather data. This data gathering is not limited to your internal data. It could be data from the dark web. It could be data from the normal global web. Understand? It can also be data from peer organizations. So other organizations in your sector. Your intelligence analysts study data from different sources in order to get to the next stage, which is data processing. Now, having gathered all this data, I believe you understand that when you're gathering data to analyze a particular topic, you need to make sure that data fits into what you're doing, right? So for instance, I work in the oil and gas sector, and I'm trying to develop a threat intelligence report for a drilling company. Then I'm gathering network data of NHS. That wouldn't work. Not necessarily that it doesn't work at all, but I'm going to have so much data that it will be difficult for me to align it, to relate it to what I'm doing in the oil and gas sector. Because the threat faced by NHS is not the same as threat faced by BP or Saudi Aramco, right? Though there are areas that the threats may overlap, but broadly speaking, they are not in the same, they don't have the same threat profile or risk profile. So we process this data. This might involve, if you have a malware file, decrypting the malware file, studying, what it contains, the code in it, to understand how it relates to us, or how these adversaries think. If you decrypt a malware file, you can understand the thinking of the person that developed it, what they intend to achieve with it. So that is data processing at this stage for us. Then we go into the analysis and production. This is an extensive effort that involves analyzing this data. Analysis here means tying every IOC. I'm starting everyone to understand what IOC is, right? I believe we do. Indicators of compromise, IP addresses, email addresses, domain names, and other things that maybe particularly relate to the targets, the threat we're studying. So how does this all relate? How does the domain name relate to the file that a user clicked on a phishing email that was downloaded, right? So this analysis and production stage helps us to put all this together. And that takes us to the next stage, which is intelligence dissemination. Having studied the entire data we have, we're able to deduct an actionable insights, right? So we've studied this data we have, we've discovered that these guys are sending out, this threat group sends out this email campaign. This email campaign carries a particular link. When the user clicks on this link, it takes this user to a particular domain. A malware file is downloaded and every other process that follows, right? So having understood this, we put this together as a report and send to the respective stakeholders. And that takes us to the final stage, which is the feedback. We also get feedback from the people consuming this intelligence report to improve on our own efforts of intelligence production. Remember, as an analyst, the first cycle, the first time you go, the first iteration of going through this cycle might not necessarily give you everything, a perfect picture. But when you get a feedback from your users, for the users of these people who use this report, you are able to improve on your efforts and see areas you can maybe add or remove from. And talking about reports here, that takes us to the next slide, which talks about levels of intelligence reporting. Now, I want to give a real life example. If I were an intelligence analyst and I have produced intelligence for a UK-based oil and gas company that operates in Middle East, in Latin America, in Africa, in Europe, right? Now, these intelligence reports, will I send the same reports to the CEO and board members of this organization, the same report that I'm going to send to the security engineers in that company, or to the chief information security officer? Is it the same report I'm going to send to everybody? No. So that explains the reason why we separate the report into 3 categories. The first level of reporting of threat intelligence, we call it strategic report or strategic intelligence report. This is a broad level intelligence report that goes to the topmost